Alright, Infernal Blessings, we are back with another video. Before I begin, just want to go through a couple quick announcements. So yes, as of the recording of this video, which today is the 7th of March, these are the last couple days as far as booking a yearly forecast reading. And then that will complete this year's 2025 readings. So again, if you're seeing this video today, this will be your your final notification to get that reading booked if you've been trying to do it. And again, once you have it booked, regardless after the cutoff date that I said, you'll get your reading. All right. So if you're interested in booking that reading, a yearly forecast reading, do that now. Also, if you're interested in any other type of reading that I offer, a Santa Muerte reading, an Egyptian oracle reading, a Clepothic demonic reading, which that's not for everybody, but if you're interested in a shadow work reading, which, as you know, I will continue to always push the importance of shadow work, which is ongoing. Shadow work reading is a great reading to do if you're looking for a sense of direction. If you're really doing shadow work, you should never ever have the question of what kind of ritual work I should be doing. A shadow work reading really tells you what's going on around you in the current moment in your life. It also uncovers things that are triggering trauma on a subconscious level that you may or may not be aware of. So shadow work reading is a great reading to do. Remember, I always promote the fact ritual work should be designed first for your needs before your wants. Doesn't mean you can't have wants and desires. People misinterpret that. Doesn't mean you can't do the money magic. It doesn't mean you can't do the love work. But that shouldn't be your first priority, is my point. Your first priority should be getting knowledge of self, mastering yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. And then the financial part is in there too. They don't necessarily always have to be in that order, but you get the point. All right, maybe you're interested in a deity reading to see what gods, goddesses, and demons and spirits walk with you. Or maybe you're just interested in a spiritual consultation, which that's something a lot of people do frequently. They come with a list of questions. They just want to have a question and answer build, and they use the whole session for that. Sometimes people use it. They want to focus on a specific thing, or they got questions about the path or whatever. If you're interested in any of the aforementioned, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. And please include in that email your full availability on a weekly basis. Please don't send me an email, I want a reading Wednesday at 4 o'clock. I know I say it all the time. I know I might sound like a broken record. I'm saying it all the time because guess what? It still happens all the time. So if that's not you, it doesn't apply to you. Sorry to be so repetitive about it, but I have to keep mentioning it because I still get those emails. So please include in your email a full availability you have on a weekly basis and the time zone you're in. We'll find a day and time that works for both of us, all right? Also, excuse me, don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos Patreon page at patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. That's patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3 is the tier you want to join. That's going to give you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon, including a group ritual we all do together at the end of the month. Also keep in mind when you join the Patreon page, tier 3, you also get access not just from the day you join moving forward, but you get access to all the classes in the archive, which is going about 5 years back now. It's tons of classes. Go to the page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. And then when you get to the page, click the collection section. You will see all the ongoing classes with the 2 classes just added this past January 2025. We have the Egyptian Hermetic Alchemy class and the Necronomicon class, which you guys give me a lot of good feedback on that. The Necronomicon, we were trying to get to it for the last year or so. We finally got around to it, and I know a lot of you guys are happy about that because it's something you really wanted to indulge in on a whole nother level. And you know me, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna dissect it. We're gonna study it. We're gonna learn it. We're gonna master it. That's how I do it. For those of you who've been in the classes, you know how the classes work. We just don't regurgitate the information in books. Whatever books or resources we're using, we break them down. We go through it section by section. We build, and you're going to come out of it with a higher understanding, overstanding, and an understanding, for lack of a better word, okay? So you can go to the Patreon page, check out the classes. Also, don't forget to check out the social media pages. Primordial Chaos 9 on Instagram, all one word. Primordial Chaos, 2 words on Facebook. And then Primordial Chaos, I always get this fucked up. PrimordialChaos3.com. Whatever it is. I always get that shit fucked up. But Primordial Chaos 3 on TikTok, I'm sorry. All right. Also, don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. Also, mark your calendars down for the 8th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference. That'll take place October 2025. More to come on that as we start to progress through the year, as we start to approach the spring solstice. But keep your ears out for more information on that. The direct link to the podcast, my contact email address, the direct link to the social media pages, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All of those links are in the description box of this video you're watching now, and in pretty much all of my previous videos. All right, you see the title, Wake Up, You Were Never Really Here. I talked about in I think my last video or the one before that, I can't remember, about breaking through and understanding your matrix simulator, right? A lot of people are talking about stuff like this on and off over the years. If you're doing your ritual work, when I put that video out, you kind of understood, or you should have understood or understood what I was trying to explain in that video. I know some people probably didn't, probably went over their head. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. What motivated me to put this title up, you were wake up, you were never really here. Okay, again, understanding what's reality, what's illusion, what you are truly experiencing and what you truly are not. As I've talked to you guys over the last few years, and I explained to you, I think I explained in the last movie, like the movie Jumpers, how you're able to, and that movie came out a few years back, how you're able to jump in and out of different realms based on your spiritual vibrational frequency or energy, okay? What tends to happen that people lose sight of, when I was explaining in one of the recent videos, when you start to accept your thoughts as a reality, now that doesn't matter if it's bullshit, that doesn't matter if it's the indoctrinated shit that they program us with, whether be it through the educational system, through the media, through social media platforms, through religious indoctrination, cult, whatever it may be. Once you accept anything as becoming a reality, once you embrace whatever thoughts that you start to accept them as being factual and real, regardless of what is classified by you or by others looking at it from a third-party perspective, that you become, right? So when I say wake up, you were never really here, because you're constantly moving and shifting into different paradigms and different realms, whether you're aware of it or not. And it's hard to fathom, because when we're looking at this thing, as I've said, broke down many times over the years, called time, especially linear time, it's hard for us to get that understanding. So let me give you an example of something that this probably has happened, I'm sure, what I'm about to say to somebody that's watching. It happens to me on and off, over the years, and this just recently happened to me this past Monday. It'll happen to me once in a while, but it has happened multiple times over the last 20 years or so. I was driving this past Monday to a routine I do for the most part on Mondays. And as I'm going from point A to B, at some point in the trip, I have no recollection of it. And what do I mean? All I remember is starting, getting in my car, heading to the destination that I had planned, and then what appeared to be maybe just a couple of seconds at max, I'm at my destination, put in my car and park. And I had to pause and gather myself because I said, shit, how the fuck did I get here? And then I knew what had happened, because this happens once in a while. And let me explain to you what that is if that has happened to you. Now, it can be a little bit like crazy when you reflect on it, because when that happens when you're driving, I say to myself, I know that taking that trip, I've gone this route many times before. There's many red lights. There's left-handed right turns. There's even a part of going in an area here in downtown Fort Lauderdale, going underneath the bridge by Los Olos, which is a tunnel. I didn't have recollection of any of that. So what happens as we do our work? And I know a lot of you are also getting back to me with these first 3 months working with sets, some really intense, crazy, sometimes bizarre shit that some of you guys are describing, and we're just a quarter of the way through. And I told you this was going to be a ride, so strap in, put your seatbelt on, buckle yourself in, and get ready to take the ride, because set's going to take you places that you better be ready to go. Okay, so when I had realized I had gotten to my destination, it was clear, it all felt like it happened in just a blink of an eye or just a couple of seconds. I had to gather my thoughts and get my head locked in, and then I realized what this is, and it was something that was shown to me years ago, and something that I got clarity on. When that happens, or you get into what they call, you start vibrating at a high frequency and at a rapid rate, you get into something that goes beyond alpha state. Okay? What happens is the physical body, the shell that the soul is housed in, and the spirit, which is a reflection of the soul, that stays here. What happens is you are jumping or shifting to another realm of existence or paradigm. It's what we would call a glitch in the system, for lack of a better word, or a glitch in time. Because remember, their linear time is illusionary. Our cyclical time or cycle time keeps going in cycles, but sometimes in one realm, or I know it's gonna sound bugged out, in one world or realm of existence, you sometimes can break out of that or jump to another realm of existence, and you have a glitch. Now, the reason why you don't have a recollection of it, because your mundane self, when it comes back to where it happened, let's just say here in your incarnation or manifestation on earth, it appears to be that something happened in the blink of an eye that you don't have recollection of, but you have awareness of what happened. That's because you left this physical shell that houses the soul and the spirit, because the soul is eternal, and the soul is something that continues to live on even after the physical body has served its purpose, right? We understand how that process works. So what you did was you experienced a glitch in the matrix, for lack of a better word. That's what I meant to expound a little further on that last video when I said, Luciferian spirituality is the key to breaking and decoding your matrix simulator. So wake up. You were never really here in the sense that you're not confined to this realm. You're never really here because the body is just a vessel you use. The physical body is just a vessel you use to visit here or come here and go back and forth. But you're never really here in the sense the way they teach it to you, that you're living this long period of time that they use, and is calculated by linear time, that confines you here to here only until you so-called die, transition on, etc. We know how they teach it in religion and in this culture and this society. You're never really here like that. Okay? That's why I say wake up. You were never really here. You were only here, or you had moments of your existence here on this realm like you have of many other realms, is because you were the one controlling it. You were the one that was made the choices and the decisions of where you were going to choose to take, quote unquote, or reside or take residence of, right? But if you think in your mind, and this is part of breaking or cracking that code, they want you to think you're confined to this realm and you will never get out of this realm until you die, as their religions teach, and then they will take you to this place way out there somewhere that's very spiritual and this, that, and the third, and it's called heaven, right? So their goal, until you give up your last breath, is to control your mindset, to manipulate you into thinking that you are a slave to a force or a spiritual power that is outside of yourself and that you are inferior to. Okay? It's that simple. When I say it's time for us to wake up, when I say it's time for us to get our shit together, as I've been saying for a while now, that's not being said just for the shit of it. Like, just because, one, I want to hear myself repeat it, and two, I want to keep coming at everybody with the same repetitive thing. But it's clear as day with all the shit going on here. If you can't see that the time is up to be bullshit, them days is over. If you can't see that now, then you definitely are in a deep slumber or sleep. Okay? On a mental level, an emotional level, and more importantly, you're spiritually dead. Okay? Now, as I've said before, in reference to some of the things I'm talking about here, there's going to be, and look, I encourage people to, there's many books out there on what I'm talking about. Please don't email me, just Google yourself. Okay? There's many books out there on topics like this, because part of that is done due to the fact that if I can put a narrative out there on topics such as this, I can still maintain control. And there's a lot of books out here on the stuff that I'm talking about right now, right? But you've got to do your research on your end so you understand the perspective of the bigger scheme of things here, okay? Because when we don't take that initiative to get that awareness, okay, then it's easy for them to bullshit us, lie to us, indoctrinate us with bullshit. See, their biggest fear is you start asking questions about certain things. When things don't add up, when things don't make sense, or you just know, sense, feel, and see something isn't right, but you don't say anything. That's not a good thing, right? We're definitely always supposed to question everything. And I'm telling you, when I say you were never really here, wake up, you were never really here, part of that waking up process, start questioning bullshit. Do not be afraid to question anybody or anything. And anybody that refuses to be questioned when it comes to topics of spirituality, etc., that usually means they got an agenda, they got something to hide, or they know they're not going to be able to hang. Okay? It's that simple. Anybody that tells you otherwise don't know what they're talking about. Okay? So it's very critical and it's important. When you hear a lot of people over here say the term wake up, we gotta wake up. A lot of you guys are still sleeping. You're in a dream right now sometimes as you watching this. That's how intense this becomes. So I put out there, and this is the last thing I want to touch on this. I put out there, we know what time of the year it is, right? We came out of the winter solstice. Now as we're emerging, and everybody should be, changing for the better on a multitude of levels as we get into the spring equinox. Okay, which would be the 21st of March. You should be connected to your spirituality on all levels. You should now start to see and feel the results of the work you did in the winter solstice, the season of stasis, but also a season of high volatile energy, as we've talked about many times before. So you should be seeing all that and sensing all that. So March 21st, which is a couple of weeks from now, the cycle of the season starts to change. And we have to change along with it. Okay? So, long story short, make sure, and this is important, make sure your mind is right when you're doing a lot of this work. And I'm starting to see some people's minds are not right. Okay? And as I said before, when you understand that you have the ability to co-create your existence. And why do I use the word co-create? Because you co-create along with those gods, goddesses, and demons that control this realm, that you are a counterpart along together with them, and you walk side by side. But when we talk about spiritual creation, right, they don't want you to know your greatness. So they create these paper clubs called the book clubs and reading clubs and anything to get you to join something to conform. This is how they get you trapped outside of your greatness. I was thinking of the book club. Remember that? It just came to my mind. Remember the CD clubs? I'm dating myself. Yeah, this is going. I don't know why this just popped in my head. It popped in my head while I was talking. Remember the Columbia CD club, or the tapes? My bag shit. It goes back to the tapes where you give 1 penny and you get like 13 tapes of CDs. I know a lot of us got that shit and broke out. I know I did it probably about 2 or 3 times. I don't know why that shit just popped in my head. But anyway, you get my point. All right. We don't have time, as I said, to not understand who and what we are. And that first video, Understanding Your Matrix Simulator, I titled it that because your matrix simulator is created and destroyed by your thoughts. Okay? When you don't have no control over it, because there's a matriarchal system to a lot of things in operation, but when you don't have control over it, there's somebody else controlling your simulator. I know we'll expound on it more. But anyway, you get my point. Hopefully this short tutorial opened up your mind to see things a bit different. And these are the topics that we're going to have to really understand and master, along with all the other stuff as we navigate through 2025. All right, I appreciate you guys' time again. If you need to reach out to me for a spiritual reading, if you need to information on how to sign up for the Patreon page, to sign up for the classes I offer, just keep in mind the direct link to the Primordial Chaos podcast, my contact email address, the direct link to the social media pages, and the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page. All of those links on the description box of this video that you're watching right now. All right? Infernal blessings. I'm out of here, and we will talk soon.